Guys, BTC breakdown, UFC Moscow. We got Jan Błachowicz versus Nikita Krylov. UFC Moscow, here with Surrey. We're gonna run through the nice little kind of like arm triangle, back rear naked choke submission over here. So we got Jan Błachowicz on top, we got Nikita Krylov on bottom. It's kind of been smothering him a little bit. His head was a little bit closer to the cage, but would be nice to Surrey with not smushing him there so much. As he's been there, he's got a nice cross face as he's putting pressure on him, and he waits for a moment as Nikita tries to kind of turn the other way at first, kind of gets squished, and then he turns back in. As soon as that elbow passes, you can see Jan just bite down on it. He's lifting up, leaning, so Nikita can't bring his elbow back in. Okay, gives him space, lets him start to climb to his knees as he starts to lock in his figure four. Leaning all his weight in, he starts to jump out cross, sliding his bottom knee in first, pulling Nikita back over. Bottom hook went through, top leg came on top for like a modified figure four, crushing in, back heeling on his hip, head staying behind, turning that thumb in and pressuring in for his submission. Details that I like about this is working with the cross face, not giving him a lot of space to breathe, not giving him a lot of options. He's got a nice wedge, I think, in on the hip, so if he starts to try to run away, he's making sure to block with his knee and his elbow, trying to give this a little bit of freedom. So when Nikita pushes back in and he finally gets his opportunity to collapse, he doesn't even give him the second chance to jump over for the conventional knee or arm triangle, hop on knee on belly, kind of slide across. Nikita starts to get to his knees. He makes sure to bite completely with his figure four. He hops himself across, balancing through the knee, comes in as he pulls him back across, stepping himself back over. I like this a lot because the elbow is so high. Even if he tries to start turning back into me, as long as I keep my head down and nice and tight, I can still keep squeezing. It enables me to start to turn my thumb back in so I can really turn the blade of my wrist against the other side of his carotid artery. I mean, I like the Błachowicz one. He's got that, like I said, he's got that nice tight cross face underneath. He's punching him a little bit with that right hand to get him to bring that hand up. Punches that body a bit to get him to turn in. Make sure he shucks. And he kind of like shucks that arm by. As soon as he gets that bite, that's what I like. As soon as he gets that bite though, he commits. He doesn't let go. He knows exactly what he's going for. You can tell he's drilled that a whole bunch of times. No, that's nice. No mercy, you know what I mean? He's tied up on that elbow. He's still on the partner's back, so the elbow can't come back in. Especially if you're just not used to these positions. Like even awareness in general, you know what I mean? Once he got that arm, like his elbow line past Błachowicz, he should have been turning his hip back in, trying to get his elbow line clear back onto the inside of his hip. Just keep rewinding back and forth. He clears the right elbow back in on the hip proper, like he's gonna start tripping away. He gets punched, that's what makes him turn away from that. His head's kind of getting squished against the cage. But even right away, he starts turning to his knees. I don't know, he has the figure four locked up right away, like it's against his neck. Maybe he thought he'd be able to like turn back in once Krylov kind of like went for his neck, like kind of shot the knee in through for his back to roll him over. He should be aware that you know, he's got that far side back exposure, and it's like he needs to be clearing that back to the mat right away. Yeah, maybe getting that back, turn that elbow back in, fight for that underhook on that side as he's turning to his knees, you know what I mean? Like if he was underneath Błachowicz's armpit, at least he could hit the hip and, you know, maybe re-wrestle into the cage. But he's just turned back in. I think it was probably just super tight right away. He panicked. We got Oliynyk, Mark Hunt, UFC Moscow. So, you know, there's a few moments that got to here. So once Oliynyk actually had Mark Hunt's back, so he was moving between a few different positions. He kind of had this like low body triangle on his calf, holding him in, had a nice, tight, bigger seatbelt grip here, fighting the wrist, keep coming up to the face. He's trying to dig underneath. Mark Hunt's doing a good job fighting. As you're here and he keeps coming across, Oleksiy lets go and starts using his top hand to try to peel and push, other hand still fighting, and he comes across. There's a moment where he just goes palm to palm, and he starts to crush right away. As soon as he feels he's not getting anywhere, he starts to let go and reach for a nice deep overhook, like he's going to sit up and go on top. Mark Hunt sits up right away. Oleksiy comes right back in and starting to peel the face up nice and high. Gets the hand underneath onto the shoulder. Once he lets go, he goes palm to palm, head in, crushing towards his elbow, and just goes for the choke. So we're in here in the position. He got himself through. He went palm to palm. He had a really short choke here where he was still crushing his neck. Traditional rear naked choke, you'd be aligning the elbow right directly with our partner's chin. When we're coming through, grabbing our bicep, back of the hand, behind the head. Here, big glove on, you're going palm down to be able to push. There's modifications where you go palm to palm. You kind of tuck your forearm in line with your partner's spine with a nice tight head, and you can go back for the pull here. But this time, as they were fighting through, going for a couple pulls, he goes to sit up. They start peeling at the face. As he falls back, he reaches his hand through, just goes palm to palm tight here, and he just starts pulling back for his crush.
What's the difference on that, sir?
Oh. Beep. Look at those. Yeah, eyes
don't lie, bro.
The biggest thing with Hunt is Hunt was kind of like fighting the hands. He was fighting a lot with his upper body, but he wasn't doing a lot. So he's hand fighting a lot, but he's not doing a lot of positional fighting. He's not moving his hips. He's not trying to get his hip line outside of Oliynyks, like kind of like leg line, like got him caught in here. He's not even trying to get his hip to the outside as he's fighting his hands. Oliynyk was anticipating him to get that hip line out, turn back into him. That's where he would be fighting back underneath and make sure he kind of beat him to the punch, unhooking his bottom leg, getting that top leg on top, trying to fight the position as you're fighting the hands to make Oliynyk make a few more decisions, you know, to hopefully find the opening to turn back in or get back up. Like Mark Hunt tries to turn into him once he actually gets that modified choke on. I don't know, I find that if you're getting choked out, you know, if they have that seatbelt over your neck, I'm going to want to like fight the hands. Worst case scenario, I'm trying to get the hips to the opposite side. So if the seatbelt's here, I'm trying to get this, like my opposite shoulder on the floor, and that shoulder needs to kind of turn in across into their chest and center line, free up that one carotid artery. Then it's going to be the battle to see who, you know, gets to top position. If they're stepping over the mount, or if you're able to re-wrestle those hips, maybe grab your over-under pass, or maybe get underneath the front shin. Get all crazy if somebody's like really giving you a lot of space and stepping over and not being super tight. Like we said before, Oliynyk anticipating that and waiting for Mark to turn into him so he can get on top and smash. But he's got that, Oleksiy got that right hand over the neck. And he's got Mark on the same side. And Mark's trying to turn into him. His head's stopping him from even being able to turn his own body in. You know, he's just crushing. Slight intricacies of that moment that Mark Hunt's sitting up to notice, just get your quick opportunity to switch yourself through. Yeah, right hand is palm up. He's here, head in, crushing in. That way, if I guess palm up, you can really turn that blade of the wrist in, crush that neck. Because then you're just going to crush whatever you're on top of. You can crush that windpipe, whatever.
Which is pretty much all he...
That's his game, right? Yeah.
Ezekiel chokes, right?
That's his game, yeah. Give him the neck and, like, see you tomorrow at breakfast, you know? I feel like as soon as you saw this thing hit the ground and you just saw the way Oliynyk was decision-making to Hunt, you know, he was so far ahead of the movements that were going on that it was only a matter of time before he's going to climb up and be able to expose the back. They had a whole minute left as he was sitting there with that kind of modified figure four. Yeah.